Today's 780th day. I'm here to listen to learn. I'm learning. I hope this will support your dreams, your goals, allow you to become the person that you want to become. Today I want to focus on inputs and outputs. And what kind of inputs and outputs do I speak about? I speak about inputs, that is information. That means gathering books, seminars, podcasts, anything that you're able to really improve your knowledge and gather information. And outputs are the things that you do, take action, improve, moving forward. That means that you're not supposed to really live a life without inputs and outputs. You need to really live with both of them. So today we'll share four different scenarios when you have outputs, inputs, when you don't have outputs and inputs at all, and we have inputs and outputs balanced way. Because there's a huge difference when you really understand how you're able to maximize your time, how you're able to maximize your life, when you understand how truly pursue significance with inputs and outputs. So let's look first into that you do not have inputs and you do not have outputs. So you do not gather information, you do not gather knowledge, and at the same time you don't take any action. What happens? First thing about it happens is that you become like lack relevance. So you become less relevant over time. So that means, let's say that sales skill. So it means over time, sales becomes different. People become different. And of course, because of that, you become less and less relevant. You do not learn new perspectives. You do not learn new skills. And that means that you become less and less relevant. Now, what happens when you become less relevant? Second thing, what happens is that your confidence goes down because you do, and the confidence diminishes altogether. So that means when you do not have input, you don't have any output, your confidence will decrease. So if you know that you start to feel that you're less relevant than before, maybe you didn't do any inputs, maybe you didn't do any output that could really learn to develop new skills. And the last one, number 3, that I want to mention is that it's very important that when you do not do new research, you don't put any new books, no seminars, you don't take any action, you don't build any new skills, what happens? You miss opportunities. You miss opportunities. Because when opportunities show up, it's too late to prepare. So that means that you will miss a lot of opportunities because you do not have the knowledge, you don't have the skill set to really jump on that new opportunity. Now, let's look into the other example. Let's look into that you put a lot of input. You take a lot of energy and you learn and go to all seminars. You read all the books. You read hundreds of books. You attend hundreds of seminars, conferences, and you just really investing in yourself a lot of time. What happens? What happens if you really forget about output? The first thing that what happens is that you have knowledge overload. You have a lot of knowledge, but you have no idea how to implement it. People have a tendency, like I'm included. I read. But when we ask, okay, how much information we really implement, that's the question that we always need to ask ourselves. And then we find that we didn't implement a lot. And that's why people read books and then after a while they said, oh, like this book was exactly the same as last book. That means that you didn't implement last time what you learned from last book, and because you didn't implement, you didn't learn. And every single time you will learn the same exact lesson. So when people say that oh, like this book was exactly last time, that shows for me that maybe you didn't implement enough. And everything seems it's just information overload. Number 2 is lack of progress. Lack of progress. Now, of course, you potentially improved yourself, but because you didn't take action, there will be no progress. Reading a book is like running on a treadmill. You put a lot of effort, but you're staying in the same place. Now, it's very important to run, you get better, but at the same time, it's very important to really go outside, take action, and run not on a treadmill, but really in actual world. And then you will start to see the progress. And last, number 3 that I want to mention about really taking input without output is that it's illusion of progress. It's illusion because you feel that you're in emotion. You take so much action. You're busy always because you're reading a lot of books. So there's illusion of improvement. But unless you really take that input and really implement and really use to build those skill sets and really move that needle forward, it'll be just an illusion of moving forward. Now, like when we focused on input, now let's focusing that what happens if you just do output, you take action, and you really don't much, you don't invest in books, you don't invest in seminars, you don't invest in anything that really could make your knowledge better, your wisdom better. So what happens? So number one is that limited growth. So what is that limited growth? So that means that it's unsustainable. At some point, you will reach the level that you do not know what to do because you take action, you take action, you take action, and after a while, you will become so good at that level, and you will stuck at that level. That means it's very, very important to understand when you are that growing. At some point, if you will not really look into what kind of inputs you can put, it will be unsustainable, and you will keep that level. Number two is repetition. So that means repetition. I mean that repeated mistakes. So it means if you really going through actions and you made a mistake, and then you do the same action, so you made the same mistake, and you did the same mistake again. So if you look into yourselves and you say, okay, I repeated the same mistake over and over again, that means that maybe we took action without really looking how we're able to put input, how are you able to put information, how are you able to put in more content, experience and wisdom, that we do not do the same mistake over and over again. It's very, very important to put input to make sure that we avoid mistakes. And number three, that is stagnation. So that means that we are able to stay in the same spot like for a long time until we really get fresh perspectives. Because a lot of times when we are in one position, we in a stagnation, we stuck, we do not know what to do. So we need to have fresh perspectives. We need to have a mentor, a guide, a person who could say that this is what you do, this is what you do, and you need to learn new perspectives, new approaches, and pivot things to make sure that you are not stagnant. So if you feel that you're stagnant, it might be that you're doing so much action, but because you didn't get any input, you always stay in the same place. So now the last example is that I really want to focus on that you have enough input and you have enough output. So that means you have information and you really look how you implement that information. What happens? I have three things as well. So like number one is continuous growth. It's continuous growth. You don't stuck anywhere. So it means you learn a lesson, you learn information, and you implement it. You learn a lesson and you implement it. And constantly, because you're learning, and this is a loop, and continuously you improve. Because you know that, okay, I will never get stuck because I will be able to learn new perspectives, and those information and knowledge will be implemented right away. So it means that lesson learned, improved, and always continually improve. Number two is adaptability and innovation. So you know that when you have enough input and output, that you will be able to adapt to any station, and you will be able to be one of the most innovational person ever. Because you always continuously improve. You're always looking for new perspectives and you really implement it. So you adapt, change, improve, and looking for ways how to make sure that you're able to really pivot things. And that will allow you to really move forward much faster than the majority of people. And the last one, number three, is fulfillment and satisfaction. Fulfillment and satisfaction. People who have a lot of input and a lot of output, they are getting results. They execute because they execute, you get results. And what results brings resources. And what resource brings ability to really use those resources to a lot of different things, areas in family and in growth and spiritual and everything. Like resources are very important because when you have enough resources, you have energy, you have money, you have everything in between to make sure that you are living fulfilled life. And when you have inputs, when you have outputs, that allows you to really execute in the highest level. And then what happens when you have executing the highest level? You getting results. You getting significance, you're making a difference, and that allows you to really live a fulfilling and joyful life. So when I think about really inputs and outputs, information and implementation, I have found that a lot of times I was missing. I found myself that sometimes I put like a season of inputs, sometimes I have a season of outputs. But I think that what is really important to understand that we always need to find a way how we're able to balance those. Now, it's okay sometimes to allocate a little bit more time onto outputs, a little bit more time on inputs, but you're not able to stay fully into one area of your life. Or sometimes that just giving away of all inputs and outputs altogether. Because I truly believe that every single person who will balance their life based on inputs and outputs and will be able to learn from every single book, Every single new book they will take in their hands will know that this book will bring one idea that they will be able to implement right away, and that moves their life forward. And that's why I love to really read every single book, because I know that in that book, someone wrote that book for 20 years. Like, they lived their life, they improved their life, and they gather all knowledge on that book. There is something in that book that could really elevate every single person's life. So always when I take a book, I'm looking for that one idea, one meaningful idea that I could implement right away that could change my life. So I hope that you will really reflect on where are you at the moment? How much input do you put in your life? How much output do you produce? And when you reflect on that, I hope that you will elevate both of them, that you could make sure that you're able to get more results, more execution, and life could become much, much more joyful. So I hope you just win, and see you tomorrow.